move on, I think I'd like to bring up Chris Campbell now, who is the chairman of our Borough Engagement Committee, and he is going to introduce the mayor.
Great, thank you, Chris. Good morning. My name is Chris Campbell, and I'm chair of the Chippewa Borough Engagement Committee. The goals of our committee are to develop relationships with both elected officials as well as the borough administrator and chief financial officer. And our hope is that by doing this, we can communicate important initiatives and developments happening in town to our members, as well as ensure that borough leadership understands what is important to all of you. So with over 1,000 tax-paying members, Chippewa represents a large group of homeowners who aren't always able to keep up to speed on the daily happenings in our town. This morning I have the pleasure of introducing our new mayor, Tim Carney, who was elected last November and took office in January. Tim is originally from Wayne, PA, and has been coming to Stone Harbor all his life. He's a 1985 graduate of Penn State's Smeal School of Business and moved to Stone Harbor about 15 years ago full-time. Tim's been a volunteer firefighter for over 30 years, including the last 8 here in Stone Harbor. As mayor, he's a member of the Planning and Zoning Boards. He's also a member of the Stone Harbor Yacht Club and the American Legion Post. And as many of you know, part of the Sea Boys, one of Seminole Island's more prominent bands. Tim's going to introduce himself, say a few words on some of the initiatives currently being worked on in town, and then we'll have time for a little bit of Q&A with him afterwards. Tim, welcome, and thank you for coming this morning.
Thank you. Oh boy, that's loud. Good morning. It's good to see your smiling faces so early in the morning. I want to thank a few people. Definitely Chris. Chris is your liaison to Borough Hall. He loves this town. He attends all of our meetings. He's really good about transferring what we talk about in that arena and sharing it with all of you. I consider him a friend. We've built a good working relationship, and I think as our relationship grows, thus the mayor's and the governing body's relationship grows with all of you. So thank you, Chris. I want to thank your president, Chris Yates, 2 Chris's here, for having us today. And most importantly, I want to thank you, the property owners of Stone Harbor. You're really the fuel that drives our town. And we know that you love our community. You're a big part of it. You're the glue that holds it together. Your voice matters. We welcome your input. And I see us as partners moving forward. And partners work together. Partners sometimes disagree, and that's okay. Whether it's in your private life, your spouse, or in business, or your friendships. And we welcome that, and keep us honest and keep us in check. I asked Chris Yates if I could say a few words today. This relationship is really important to the governing body and myself. I think it's important that we attend these meetings and we have an open dialogue about the future of our borough. So we're really happy to be here. When I ran for office last year, there were 3 things that I wanted to focus on, and it's the rule of 3s, right? Red, white, and blue, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. And we really haven't moved from those tenets. The first was to improve our financial picture in town. And I believe we're on the right track. In the last 5 months, I'll tell you a little bit about how that's going. Secondly, I wanted to focus on keeping the charm and coziness of our town and creating ordinances that have real teeth so that there's no overdevelopment. And we're going to marry that with making sure that as we grow, we've got great infrastructure. So we'll talk about a little bit about the investments we've made there. And finally, we have to protect our beaches and bays, because this is the only reason we really come down here is the water on both sides. So we need to make sure we're fully invested in our beaches and our back bays, that they're safe, they're accessible, and they're around for everyone to enjoy. So with that, I'll take you through just some of the things we've worked on. And I, first of all, want to thank the council for being here. I want to recognize Jen Gensimer, we recognized her. Thank you, Jen. And I want to thank Jen for her service. She ran our A&F committee. None of this happens alone. We all work together, all 7 of us. We're partners, right? Sometimes we agree and sometimes we don't, but that's okay. It's healthy. And I want to thank Jen for her years of service on council. And she's going to be moving on, at least for this year anyway. And she'll be back, I know it. So thank you, Jen, for all your years of service. I wanted to thank Bunny Barzik for being here. She runs our public works. So when people call me about trash cans, I'm like, call Bunny. I'm not dealing with it, no. And but thank you, Bunny, for all the work you do. And then we have a new member of council, Ken Biddick. Ken is one of the smartest financial minds. He took over my seat and is sort of playing out the rest of my term. And he just won the primary, and we're really, really lucky to have him. He's a smart executive. He comes from the private sector, and he actually helped us balance the budget this year. He really did. Came up with some creative stuff. So thank you, Ken. Thanks for being here. So I think we've done a lot. Pardon me. Who got that picture, by the way? That's like my high school picture. Anyway, I think we've done a lot in the last 5 months. I really do. And we're all working together, and I think that's a really wonderful thing. We passed a $24 million budget, and we did this by eliminating $300,000 in expenses along the way. We reduced our total approved debt by $20 million over 2 years. It was $50 million in '23. It's now $30 million. So we're moving in the right direction. That also lowered our debt service from $4.6 million to $4.2 million. So I believe the ship is starting to turn. We also, all of us, challenged every department in Borough Hall to right-size their organization. And it was painful, but we did it. In the police department, we wrung out $150,000 of annual expenses. We promoted a new chief of police. We're real proud of that. He's a really great guy. And we reorganized and right-sized that department. We did the same thing in our fire department. We moved that from 10 paid firefighters to 9 without affecting the safety to our citizens. And we saved $71,000 within that project. In the rec department, we saved $50,000 by combining the tourism and rec positions, those 2 positions into one, and I don't think we've missed a beat there. In our construction office, thanks to the A&F committee, we've outsourced some of the code official duties to Wildwood Crest, saving another $53,000. And we fought the law and we won. We had partners in Avalon and some other municipalities. We fought the federal government. They would not allow us to dredge out of Hereford Inlet. We fought them. We won in court. And what that means is we lower expenses to replenish our beaches. Instead of pumping sand from Sea Isle, however many blocks that is, we can now pull sand from Hereford Inlet. This is huge. So I think that's often gets overlooked with everything that's going on in the borough. And you know, when I got here, I talked to prior Mayor of Avalon, Mayor Palugi, and I said, how did you get free trash cans for your citizens? And he said, I got $1 million grant from Rubbermaid. And I'm like, why don't we find that money? So the council and I we have a grant writer that helps this borough. And there's a lot of money out there. There's a lot of county money, there's a lot of state money to get stuff done. So I'm happy to say we got almost $2 million to build 2 new playgrounds. We were down 2 playgrounds in January, and within 2 hours, we will be opening our recreation complex, brand new complex on 97th Street. So I welcome you all to come, and it's gonna be a great time. We're gonna have music, Reed's is providing food, Springer's is providing ice cream. Jeff, Springer's. So that's a good thing. And we didn't spend a dime of taxpayer money to do it. We're also going to embark on building that playground on 82nd Street. It's going to be a Jake's Place playground, and we got $800,000 to do that, again, using as little or no taxpayer money to do this great work. And we listened to our citizens. A lot of citizens came to me and said, I'm sick of paying for Park Mobile at the post office in Borough Hall. If I have to run into the post office, why am I doing that? I said, I agree. So we have free parking now in front of the post office. It's the little things to me, and they're important. So with that, we passed this budget. We also added a 4% employee raise within the budget. So, governing is about compromise. You don't always get what you want, and you try to find balance, and you try to focus on what's important to the citizens. I think sometimes we lose sight of all of you. We get stuck in our little bubble in Borough Hall, and we have committee meetings. And so sometimes I think it's good to take a breath, look out the window, and figure out who you're actually working for, and that's everyone here. And we try not to forget that. So with that, I'll wrap up. And I just wanted to reaffirm our commitment, the governing body's commitment to you all in this room. Thank you for listening, engaging with us. Your voice matters, and you're vital to our borough and its success. Thank you.
Tim, you want it? Yeah. So right now, we're going into a Q&A session. So if anybody would like to ask the question of Chris or Tim, just raise your hand and we will get you a microphone.
Yes.
Good morning. In looking at that important issues, I noticed that there's no legal fees. Earlier this year, I asked Emily Dillon to send me all of the legal fees we've incurred, which are not covered by insurance. And I'd like to know what the status is of those cases and what the borough is doing to get those things resolved.
Yeah, well, I don't think we should have any legal fees. I think we should try to avoid that. My work in the private sector, when you run pieces of a company, is you hire great employees and you try to reduce risk. And I think we need to do that moving forward. I can't comment on legal cases that are still out there, but I will tell you that we all want to get all those behind us, and we also have an insurance fund that covers that. But I think there's a time when you just have to move on and focus on the people's business, and I think that kind of drags us back a bit.
Well, let me just ask one follow-up question. It's my understanding that insurance does not cover these, and if that's the case, then obviously you're in a slightly different position, and you're obviously not in a position to settle. But considering the fact that virtually all of these are due to a past employee, one of my questions to you is this moving forward? What if you don't need to tell us what's happening generally, but I do think people should know how much money has been spent to this date, and whether or not you believe that the issues within Borough Hall with employees have been resolved.
Yeah, again, I appreciate the question. We can't comment on any current legal matters, but I will tell you that we all want to move forward. We all want to respect our employees, and we do have insurance that covers, when these things happen, we do have insurance that covers that. And I think we need to get back to focus on your business, right, and managing our town. So thank you for the question.
So I wonder what the rate is that we're paying on the debt, so we're carrying that, if anyone has looked at the refinancing that at a lower level. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, thank you. And that's a great question. As I said, we had $50 million in '23 of total approved debt, and we've shaved $20 million off of that. Now we're at 30. And we continue to look at interest bands and consolidate our debt to make sure we have the best rates.
What's the rate?
Yeah, I think that, I don't know the rate off the top of my head, but I think that when they reduced the approved amount of debt, didn't mean we incurred the debt, it was just approved to be issued. It had not been issued. That was decreased, and Jennifer, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we also refinanced some of our debt at the same time at a lower interest rate. I can't quote you that interest rate, but our interest rate expense came down versus where it was.
Last Okay. To answer your question, the 2018 general bonds in the amount of $27 million, and the 2018 to 2032 with a net coupon rate of 4.33%. The principal balance as of December 31st, 2024 was $18,830,000. The 2024 general bonds in the amount of $8,335,000. The 2025 to 2044 with a coupon rate of 4% and a principal balance as of December 31st, 2024 of $8,335,000. We have a capital bond ordinance authorized, not issued. It's not funded for $4,035,498. Our total general capital debt as of December 31st, 2024 is just a little over 31 million. Does that answer your question?
Well, on the rate it doesn't, because I think you could do better on rate than for nonprofit, for government. So maybe someone should take a look at that, and take a look at refinancing that. Even that thing of $1, even a 0.5% or 1%.
Understood.
Big money, yeah.
Okay. Thank you for your comment.
Thank you. Yes, over here.
Thank you so much for getting the debt down. I really appreciate it. Makes me very happy. But going forward, we have a lot of capital projects. Do you feel like we can keep the debt at the current level going forward, or do you anticipate debt rising once again?
No, I think we're all focused on getting more efficient, and I think we talked about that a little bit in what we've done the last 5 months, right? We're leaner. We've right-sized departments. I think departments grew kind of quickly in this borough over the years, past 2 administrations. But so I think we can provide the same service level to all of you and be more efficient. I mean, I look at this from a private sector. You know, I've managed $200 million budgets. It's a $25 million budget. It's not that difficult to figure out where our costs are. And so we've asked police, we've asked fire, we've asked all departments, public works, do things more efficiently, right-size your departments, and but don't affect the service level to you all. So I think we're on the right track.
I think the playgrounds are a good example. Good example of that, where they've gotten grants to help with those playgrounds and not had to take on additional debt for that. So hopefully we can take that model and use it for other capital projects as well going forward.
Yeah, and I think I want to do stuff as a mayor. You know, I just don't want to react. You know, I want to take back the second floor of the lifeguard building. You all paid for it, and you're not allowed in it. And it's closed 9 months out of the year. That would be a great community center. And I'd like to pay off that mortgage by maybe working with a partner to have rehearsal dinners or something like that. But that's your building, and you should be allowed in it. And we should take it back.
I was wondering if you could address Vince Conti's thing that was in the Herald 2 days ago about the beach replenishment funds being wiped out, and I guess we were supposed to have a beach replenishment later this year is what he indicated in the article. And what are the thoughts or plans?
Yeah, that's a great question. So within this budget, we also put away $1 million for beach replenishment, for back bay dredging, and for bulkhead repairs, which brings that fund to $3.4 million, right? So we're putting money aside for a rainy day, because we did get that Stockton data of where we are on the beach and the back bays, and we're going to need to address that soon, and we always know that we have to have that fund on the side. Secondly, this is a fire call, sure. I was him. Let's talk a little bit about our PR. We were able to hire a public relations company. I felt when I was sworn in that every article I read in the Herald's negative. And you know what? I wasn't having it. I called Vince Conti. Probably the first week I got sworn in. I said, Vince, everything you write about us is negative. I said, this is a wonderful, beautiful place. And I said, why do you do it? He said, because you give me nothing. I said, you and I just became best friends. So we feed him positive stories like this outing, like our playground opening in an hour or two. I think we need more of that. Yeah, and if you're not your own cheerleader, then they're going to write negative stuff about you. And I think those days are dead, and we're moving forward. And we have a great relationship now with the Herald, but you have to work at it.
But what about beach replenishment?
Well, we have 1 million that went into the fund. That fund is now 3.4 million. The Natural Resources Committee, headed by Robin, is going to make a recommendation to the council on when we do that replenishment.
Okay, so we have nothing planned now.
No, it's still being reviewed by the committee.
Okay, that was my question. Thank you.
So your question is a very good one because the last beach fill was $26 million, right? So $3 million does us absolutely nothing. But we did hire a beach consultant a couple years ago that left us with some ideas of some things to do. And SHPOA is actually a member of something called the American Shore and Beach Preservation Association. And that is a national entity that looks at what you can do besides these very expensive projects to help with the beaches. So as Tim mentioned, under Natural Resources and Robin, we're trying to get a few things together, and I think in the fall, hopefully we'll be moving in that direction, but you're 100% right. We cannot rely on these massive projects. We all know what's going on with federal funding right now. And when we miss a beach fill, which we did in 2019, it had a major impact on our beaches. 25% are at risk when we miss that. So I think, yeah, I agree with Tim. We have some things planned. The good thing is we have a little luxury of time right now. Those of you who have been on our beaches are in wonderful shape right now, but we can't wait for the emergency. Thanks.
Let's do 2 more questions for the mayor, if we could. Yes, sir.
I can stay here most of the day.
No, you got 12.
All right.
I noticed on the financial issues slide, it should be a slide, that it specifically referenced shared services. Projects we guess have not made. Now, I've been attending these meetings for a long time, and that's an issue as old as the hill. And you share specific actions that the borough is taking today to improve that process to reduce our costs.
Yeah, well, I think shared services was one of the things that we did, right? It's sort of a soup of different things you do to cut costs and get leaner. We outsourced or entered into a shared services agreement for the code official in our construction office through Wildwood Crest. The person that does that today is already from Wildwood Crest, so I think we're good there. I think we have opportunities in public safety to look at shared services. Again, keeping the service level for you all, keeping you safe, but trying to enter into agreements where it makes sense.
You're talking about having opportunities. That's future. What's going on now and this fiscal year and next fiscal year to accomplish that in terms of shared services?
Thank you. That's an excellent question. And really, we're having a tremendous challenge with our appropriations cap, and that is how much the state allows us to increase our expenses every year. One of the ways to get around this appropriations cap is through shared services, and we realize that. To that end, we asked the Department of Community Affairs Local Assistance Bureau to come in and do efficiency studies for us and to take a look at our borough and to help us be more efficient for all of you. We can raise taxes. We have a levy cap, but we can't spend it. So we truly are in a position where we have to take a look at our expenses and we have to consider shared services. What we have done initially is what Tim talked about, is we've done a shared service with Wildwood Crest for our construction office. That was made possible through a retirement, and I think we're a few weeks into that. We continue to work with the DCA, looking at our public safety. And that's where we are right now. They are also evaluating our public works. Obviously, to have a sustainable Stone Harbor financially, we've got to look at doing things differently. When you talk about shared services, not everyone's on board with it. We had some challenges with it. The DCA came to us and they're doing these studies with a $450 million pot from the governor to give out to municipalities who choose to participate in shared services. That's very attractive. Initially, with the DCA, they felt they had the rebuff from Stone Harbor. We worked with them diplomatically. I got the phone calls. They feel we overturned some of their recommendations. They aren't interested if they're not welcome here. And then they move us to the bottom of the barrel. So really, if we want shared services, we have the help. We have some excellent services here in Stone Harbor that can be shared, where we can be the lead agency and we can offer our services to other municipalities. At the end of the day, it's the will of your governing body that is going to make shared services happen. And it is very difficult politically because there is tremendous pressure not to do it. I invite you to come to council meetings and hear it. Watch our tapes, you'll hear it. We have a very small electorate and they are very vocal. As public officials, we feel the pressure. I'm not running for re-election, so I can be really open with you. So I'm giving it to you the way it is. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Tim.
Thank you. Thanks, Jen. Yeah, it's a couple. Hi.
I have a question. You talked a lot about the budget and what the expenses are. What's the town's income versus the outlay?
What's the town's income? Well, it's actually balanced, right? So it's right now we're at 24 million, right? So expenses matched revenue, we got to zero. That was sort of the issue we had. We were 300 over our cap in expenses, and then we got to a flat sort of where revenue matches expenses.
So our income is
24 million, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it's made up of a lot of components, but your revenue matches your expenses. It's just like your checkbook, right? It's like what's coming in, what's going out. Yeah, thank you. Any?
I'm a pickleball player. 6 or 7 years ago, I learned pickleball here in Stone Harbor, and it kind of changed my life because it introduced me to all these new people, and I have a big group of friends, many of them sitting here. So then a couple of years ago, the borough increased the fees for pickleball to 2 or 3 times the amount of local communities, and everybody left. They went to Avalon. I would say 90% of the regular pickleball players left, and it's hard to get them back. I know that the council reduced the fees this year, but even so, you only have 2 or 3 courts of people playing at all these different sessions. So the borough is losing a tremendous amount of money, and we're losing a bunch of our friends that continue to go to Avalon. I'd like to know what the borough is doing to try to get those people back.
Yeah.
Increase,
No, it's a great question, and I'm glad you brought it up because I did want to cover pickleball in my general comments. So yeah, I think we got it wrong on pickleball, and I think this council and myself are trying to get it right. I think when we jacked up fees in prior administrations to $250, people left with their feet. They voted with their feet, right? And that's just simple economics, right? You have crappy courts, right? And then you double the price. Where are you going to go? You're going to go to Avalon, right? So we worked with council to eliminate that $250 seasonal fee. And we did put money in the budget to repair the courts currently and then replace the courts in the fall. So we need to win people back. The first way you do that is get your price right, attached to the value that you bring, and then you fix what you have. Because I'll tell you, a lot of people call me about pickleball. I mean, I think if we fix this, they'll build a statue of me somewhere. No, people are passionate. I'm telling you, they camp out on my house and knock on the door, they look in my windows. It's really, really weird.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for the questions. Keep the program going. Tim, appreciate your time coming in. Thank you for the questions.